Resident Evil Revelations was originally released for the Nintendo 3DS in 2012, and now it's on the PS4. But is this scary ship worth reboarding, or is it just a horrifying re-release? Resident Evil Revelations takes place between Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5 as far as the RE timeline is concerned. Resident Evil Revelations has you taking the role of Jill Valentine, for the most part. You get to play as a handful of other characters throughout the game's main narrative, which is broken up into chapters, and each chapter is broken up into multiple parts. It's told in a very episodic TV way, with even at the beginning of each episode having a previously on Resident Evil Revelations thing before you get into the new chapter. Most of the game takes place on the Queen Zenobia, though the way that the story is told, you'll go to a few locations in the past and the present, and sometimes the line of what's going on now and what was going on before is blurred a bit, which is something I enjoy about the overall plot line, though dialogue between the characters at times can be just okay. The game features a nice mix of Resident Evil elements, from the more action-oriented ones of Resident Evil 4 and 5, but a bit of the classic Resident Evil, where you're exploring through the Queen Zenobia, you'll find locked doors and have to find a key in a later area and then return in order to open up these locked doors, sometimes in order to progress the plot, and other times just to find some extra bonus items. But just the fact that you had that was something that we weren't seeing in Resident Evil games at the time of this release. The game's action is as good as it ever was. It can be a bit slow at times since you do have to kind of come to a stop in order to pull out your gun and aim it in order to fire at enemies, though you have a dodge button that can come extremely in handy as far as being able to outmaneuver your enemies and get through doors without having to do battle with them. Because of the limitations of the original release, enemies don't really follow you through doors, so a lot of times you can just run past them and get into the next safe room without having to worry too much about things coming after you. That doesn't mean, though, that you won't have some intense moments, as monsters can gang up on you easily since you're in a lot of small corridors on the Zenobia itself. You'll have a very claustrophobic feel to it as you're going through certain areas, especially later in the game when there's much tougher and more enemies to deal with. The game has a variety of guns that you expect in Resident Evil games, like your handgun, shotgun, machine gun, and magnum, though you can end up getting different versions of each weapon, as well as being able to get custom parts that you can switch and swap with any of your guns at any point. Things that increase the damage, or things that decrease the spread shot of a shotgun, making it fire more directly, and a few other things you'll find scattered throughout the area, so it's good to explore for them in order to make sure you get these upgrades so you can really have a better, powerful gun. One nice little addition to the game was the scanner system, where you're able to scan monsters even during battle or after battles if their corpse ends up remaining, though usually when you defeat a monster they just instantly end up disappearing. But scanning them will build up a percentage, which of course is going towards gathering intel, but for you, the player, if you're able to get 100% intel gathered, you're able to get a free extra health item. One part of the game that I've never enjoyed is the underwater segments. You have to do a lot of them in this title, and the camera and control at times can be quite finicky as you have to do them. If there wasn't so many of them, it really wouldn't end up bringing anything down, but you do have to do it quite a bit. The game features 3 different difficulties and a few unlockables that you're able to get for completing certain objectives throughout the game, and there is of course the raid mode included in this version as well, which can be played co-op or even jump online to play with friends in order to go through a series of different levels, face off with monsters, gain experience and money, and be able to buy tons of different items. The thing is, there isn't a lot new with this re-release. It's basically identical to the one we saw just a few years ago on the PS3 and 360. It runs at a smooth, faster frame rate, but that's really about it. Graphically, there hasn't really been much touch-ups, and some of the textures can look pretty bad now on the PS4. From the technical side of things, though, the game ran smoothly. I didn't run any major glitching, crashing, or slowdown of any sort. Resident Evil Revelations, this iteration of it, is available now on PS4 and Xbox One, and it's coming soon to the Nintendo Switch with Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 bundled together. You can also get the game on PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U, PC, Nintendo 3DS, and maybe some other systems. The game does feature a full trophy list in Platinum, and it's very similar to its PS3 list, except there has been a few new trophies added and one trophy changed up. These are all, though, for the raid mode exclusively, nothing new in the campaign. Overall, Resident Evil Revelations was a great game when it came out for the Nintendo 3DS and was quite impressive with what they were able to do with the game. Playing it now in 2017, though, there have been so many changes and advances in action games, it may feel a bit dated and even slow at times if you've never tried it before, though if you enjoyed it back then, I think you'll very much still enjoy it now. With everything said, it's a bit difficult to rate, but as far as a re-release goes, it's pretty standard, just okay. I would give it a 5 out of 10. For the game itself, though, as much as I do enjoy it and thought it was a pretty decent Resident Evil entry, I'll be giving it a 7 out of 10. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this review. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.